So the key to our homemade hauler using these commercial rollers is getting this wheel centered on our shaft. These are made so that these holes are centered when it puts it onto the rice huller. But we don't get to use these, so we have to use this outer rim. And this outer rim is actually a little beveled, and so we have to just match that. So we're going to make spokes that drop in here. I have these screws here. I'm going to use that to center the shaft. This hole here is bigger than my shaft because I'm going to put epoxy in here to lock everything together. So I put this in. Right? So that's like that. These are in here like this. These are going to be inside, and when I put the epoxy in, they're going to keep the epoxy from flowing out. I've put some duct tape on here so I don't get epoxy on all these various parts. So I push this piece on. Now what I'm going to do, my first step will be to lock this in. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put epoxy here and here. Epoxy in these grooves. Right in like this. And this will lock this spoke to this wheel. We're going to have a compression and a shear force. Those will cure overnight. Then tomorrow I'll be putting this shaft in and I'm going to put epoxy in here. So once you get that set up, the question is, how do you know for sure that you're in? And this one I've set up. So I've used these screws to lock it in. I've got my cavity here for that. I've got this plate, and this plate I've run wood screws in here to lock these together. So now this shaft, I made this spins. Now when you do it initially, you take a right angle tool like this and just measure until you get it right in the center. Then for your final check, you put a straight edge and then you spin it. And you want that gap to be consistent, because your rice is only a couple of millimeters. So it's just spinning along there, and this is good enough. So I'm going to push it against it. So that's all I need to do. Now this shaft, I'll center it in here, and once this is on, epoxied in, it's locked in place. So it's just a little time consuming and you have to be very patient. But you can get this thing locked in here. I use JB Weld, which is an industrial grade adhesive. Alright, I'm going to now epoxy all this together.